Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Welcome back here to the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Danny Clinkscale is here.
I am indeed.
From DannyClinkscale.com. Danny Unleashed here on a Friday, where we are, Danny and I, are at Dixon's Chili. We'd love to see you come on down here and say hello. We'll be here till 6 o'clock or until I finish my bowl of chili. One or the other.
I just
whichever comes second.
Just ordered up my wife's chili.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. I like that. Tomorrow is the 100th birthday of Dixon's Chili. Danny, that's almost as old as you.
That's right. You know, I was here back in with Harry Truman and I used to hang out here.
In 1919.
Exchange stories before he was president.
Curtis brought up a point that it talked about, like, the first time Harry Truman was at Dixon's Chili, he couldn't figure out what the address was because it's on a street that is now named Truman Road.
Right.
But then was it named, like, what was it, Olive?
No, it was
Curtis?
it was 15th and Olive. I'm like, 15th? Where's 15th? Oh, it's Truman Road and Olive. But it wasn't Truman Road back then because he was still 30 years away from being president.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. Harry Truman dining here when he got back from World War I.
Wow.
Talk about your success stories. Man, you have a business that lasts 10 years. You're a success.
Yeah, especially a restaurant.
100 years. It's freaking insane.
So, Soren, you got the soupy, huh?
I do. I like the soupy.
You got the soupy, but you don't like the Cincinnati chili.
No, I don't. They screw it up. It sucks.
I only, it's almost like a different food group. I had it when I was there for the All-Star game because the boys on the morning show requested that I go out and try it. You know, I'd heard. And so I did. And I didn't dislike it. It was just like a different food. I mean, it was served over spaghetti, and it was
which they'll
runny.
do here.
It was kind of runny. It wasn't particularly spicy in any way. There were no beans.
Right.
So it was just it was just a completely different thing. You know, sort of like I consider pizza and frozen pizza to be two different foods. You don't judge a frozen pizza up against a pizza because it's not going to happen. So this is almost a different kind of food group, but they give you the choice here.
The frozen pizza is closer to a cracker than it is
exactly
pizza.
And
and
if it's significantly up the scale for that, you say good on you, but you're not making it to real pizza territory.
Right. I got you.
Unless you got a really, really bad pizza.
I got you. Danny Clinkscale, always brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, commercial, residential. They are the best in the business. You can check them out. Honesty, integrity, you get it all. Commercial and residential roofing. 4 straight years voted best of houses. Angie's List Super Service Award winner. No payments collected with Easton Roofing. Until you're 100% satisfied. Credit cards and PayPal are accepted. Call 913-257-5426. See them online at eastonroofing.com. I was told a story. So we have storms. You have hail damage. You have people come by. Knock-on-door type roofing company came in and said, hey, we're going to check your roof to see if there's any damage. And so we just need you to sign this waiver for us to get up on your roof. Turns out it was a contract.
Yeah.
And
they have to sue to get out of it.
They got to sue to get out of the contract. So be careful. Easton does not work that way. I can tell you repairs or brand new, Easton Roofing will be great for you. They did a massive project right across from our office, by the way, that had cranes and all kinds of stuff involved. So no matter how big, no matter how small, Easton Roofing, Joe and the guys and gals will do a fantastic job for you. As it's a little scary when you got predatory companies out there trying to lock you into a horrible deal. So be careful. Call Easton Roofing, a company you can absolutely trust.
And how about this for customer service? I just had my gutters cleaned about a month ago or so.
'Cause you're not doing it.
No, I'm certainly not doing it. And so the other day, my wife says, "Hey, this came in the mail for you," and it was a mug, a really fancy mug from Easton Roofing, just thanking me for. I'm sure it's just a standard thing they do for all customers. It wasn't special for me, and they said thanks for
It's not,
the
because
quality.
after my repairs, I got a mug too.
Yeah, really nice. I mean, a really nice mug, and which my wife now has in her car. And so that's just the kind of service you get, and little touches from Easton Roofing,
Yeah.
Joe Spiker, and all the folks there. I was by there today saying hello to the folks. Very nice.
Dixon's Chili, owned and operated, great family-owned business. Same with Easton Roofing. So great to talk about both of them here today in the program. All right, what do you want to see out of the Chiefs tomorrow, Danny? Do you agree with my number one, a healthy 15 standing on the sideline? I don't know why he's playing.
I think it's just because that's the way things work. Which is the dumbest reason on earth.
I
agree with that. I think if you're going to play that little, I don't know if there's necessarily that much of a point in it. I can see it, you wanting to do it in the third game, get the feel back of being in the stadium and everything like that. They say he's going to play the first quarter. I think basically it just depends on if they drove down the field and scored a touchdown on the first drive. I think he'll probably come out. If they had a couple 3-and-outs, maybe he does play the first quarter. I don't know. But I wouldn't be averse to what you're saying.
Would you play him or not?
I guess I would, at least a little. I mean, I'm really not evangelical on either side of it.
It's great having you, Danny. Good talking to you, buddy.
I see your point. I heard you say it, and I don't have any. I'm not going to sit here and make a strong argument against you. I don't. I think it would be fine as long as he. Maybe it's something where he has said, I'd be more comfortable if I played a little bit. Maybe it's as simple as that.
Is that right, Patrick? That's great. Let me know how that works next week, or even week 3. But no, you're not going to play. You're too valuable for this franchise. There's no reason for you to be on the field. Tom Brady didn't play. Aaron Rodgers didn't play. And this kid is in that category. And you cannot tell me that 14 snaps against a vanilla, watered-down Bengal defense is the difference in him developing and taking some next step, apparently to like 9,000 yards passing and 90 touchdowns. I'm not listening to that crap. There's no reason for him to be out there. What I'm hoping is Andy Reid's going to play him one series, whether it's 3-and-out or not, and he's hoping that he doesn't get the coin toss. So the Bengals can go first and burn up some time. He'll run him out there. He's hoping he throws 2 or 3 passes that sends him down the field for a touchdown, and then he can get him the hell out of there because all Andy Reid's really doing is trying to sell some preseason tickets for the marketing department. That's what I'm hoping, because I cannot – there is absolutely no reason to risk this man in this game.
Well, it certainly would be an unmitigated disaster and since you're probably winning me over here because I'm the guy who always says why these NFL teams play their quarterbacks in lopsided games in the fourth quarter. It is beyond me, because what the argument against what you're saying, the only argument against what you're saying is that really great quarterbacks just don't tend to get hurt.
Right, because they don't take the hits.
Yeah, and they just, Peyton Manning missed one season because he hurt his neck. Tom Brady got rolled up on once, but still, that did happen. But generally, these great quarterbacks, they just play game after game. Has Eli Manning ever even missed? He never even has missed a game until they benched him last year.
Right.
So I guess that would be the counter to that. But I can't summon up a strong argument against what you're saying. And I wasn't even really aware that Brady and Rodgers didn't play at all. So given that, I'm maybe even more on your side.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not unleashed on this particular topic.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, I am. And look, I hesitate because I hear a lot of we don't have a real game. We don't have anything to break down. The Royals suck. So you got to listen. I always think there's something to talk about. I don't know. Maybe I'm just that big a moron or nerd or dork or whatever. But I know this is a time of year where we've burned through the "isn't it great the Chiefs are back" crap.
Right.
We burned through who's running around in training camp. So now you got to have a real topic. And I hear a lot of people like They want to be. I'm pissed at this player, or this guy better do this, or rah. If I don't, there's nothing like that to be upset about right now. There's nothing.
No, there's not. Nobody's holding out. Everybody's here.
And they've had awful preseasons, and they've had a winning record every year. Andy Reid's been here, and they've been in the playoffs 5 out of his 6 years. He's gone over the betting total every year. So he's exceeded Vegas's number every single year. There is nothing to be gained in this preseason from a standpoint of building any kind of fan. There shouldn't be. I've heard some people that like feel a need to try to create a villain. I call it villain radio, right? Can't do a show unless you got somebody that we're trying to get rid of. Andy Reid scores 51 points against the Rams, and, you get a call from the guy who's like, can't believe he ran the ball on second. He scored 51 points! He's the only coach to score 51 points and lose. Nobody's ever scored that many points and lost ever in the history of the league. It was not the play calling. It was not the offense.
No.
But we got to have something to be mad at. We got to have a villain. I'm not mad about this.
Right.
And if Andy Reid puts him out there, it's fine. But you're in the get-it-right business. If you put him out there, he better trot right off the field, 100% healthy, or then I will come into work on Monday, and I will be upset. And I think Andy Reid's fantastic. I'm thrilled that he is the Chiefs coach. But for the life of me, I don't think anybody's thought this through. I think the only reason he's running out on the field, and this makes it even worse because Tom Brady watched last night, Aaron Rodgers watched last night. The only reason he's running out on the field is because, that's what we always do. Well,
I know.
You've never taken the field, Andy, with a guy with 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards and the reigning MVP. Now it's time to do what you do when you have that guy. See Aaron Rodgers and see Tom Brady watching the game.
And he also has mostly the same players in there. If he had a whole new crew of wide receivers or something like that, maybe you could mount an argument for it. But I'm not strong about it. I totally see your point. And now that you can tell how much I pay attention to other people's preseason football. I didn't even know Tom Brady didn't play last night. So, but that doesn't surprise me.
I should point out,
maybe this is the last time.
When I was watching, he wasn't playing, and I was watching early, so I assume he didn't play. If somebody's hitting me on the Twitter at Soren Petro with, he played the first series. Okay, well, that was stupid. And Bill Belichick's dumb.
Right, I wouldn't be very surprised if he didn't play.
I don't think he did.
And I think that also as time goes on, I think Mahomes likely will get that treatment. And as I said, maybe it is something that he wants to do, but he's not the coach. So, although he probably has more say than the average person. Here's my thought of what you were just talking about and the fact that we don't have things to talk about, and that we try to, because everybody's excited that the football is back, you get stuff like this. I just looked up the Chiefs depth chart.
Right.
I just typed in, Chiefs release depth chart, so it came up on MSN Sports, okay? Just popped up there, so I'm looking there. So anyway, this young guy who does this, I think his name's Goldman, doesn't really matter. Anyway, he does the depth chart, and then he has observations. So he actually had the depth chart for special teams. This is what we do. This is what we do when nothing really matters at all. This is about the special teams. Nothing too surprising here, but I still am curious who the emergency holder is now that Chris Conley has gone. We know the emergency long snapper has been Travis Kelce in the past. I know. I'm not curious. I'll have to admit. That is one area my curiosity has not stretched to, is who the emergency holder is.
No.
And frankly, did you know that Chris Conley was the emergency holder?
I did. If you had said who was the emergency holder last year, I would not have gotten it. But when you said Chris Conley, I'm like, yes, I do remember some questions about what kind of trick plays and blah, blah, blah. I remember standing around Chris Conley once and him being asked about being the emergency holder, but I would not have gotten that question right. And, by the way, I will tell you, Josh Stidham had 24 passes and Brian Hoyer had 14. And, by the way, their backups, 26 for 38 overall for 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, no INTs from Josh Stidham and Brian Hoyer
and just in
against
case
the Detroit Lions.
Just in case anyone thinks maybe Tom Brady came out and handed off 3 times and sat down, didn't throw a pass, I'm looking at the game book. Listed, did not play Tom Brady. So
Yeah, what